when you came to write it, if there wasn't a strong purpose, why would you go through that pain? Like, why would you dig?
Yeah.
And so it's really important for people to, when they're coming up to do anything, to have their purpose, or what I'd like to say, why.
Yeah.
If you can answer that why, and it makes sense, then you can go through the pain. You can go through what's about to be asked of you.
Yeah. If you can find the why, you'll find the how. Yeah. This is what Viktor Frankl found. Viktor Frankl was a doctor who ended up in Auschwitz, and what he discovered in Auschwitz was that purpose is what kept people alive. He called it logos. He developed a system called logotherapy. So it's man's search for meaning or search for purpose. So you can heal people just by giving them a purpose. But the word logos comes from it means the word of God. So it means, we're literally, the word of God is always translated as Christ, or the Christ energy. So if you find the purpose, it might just be that you just find a purpose, and that gets you into training every day, or that gets you to write. And it might be a temporary purpose. It might be that you want to buy a house, or that you want to buy your mum a house, or that you want a bigger car. They're purposes. But the ultimate purpose is the logos, and the logos is the word of God. So it means that we want to aim for the big goal, which is I want to make myself accessible to the Christ energy, or accessible to consciousness. And to do that, I have to be prepared to go into the very deepest corners of my body and mind, and they'll be presented to you. But it's not you that atones them. It's not you that cleans them.
Yeah.
It's what we have to do is watch them. Jung would call it individuation. So all this unconscious stuff has to rise up, and we have to be able to watch it and observe it without engaging it. And then it is cleaned by God. It's taken back into consciousness. Yeah. But as it rises, it is fighting to get your attention. It's fighting to get your engagement. So you have to have a very, very strong eye wall. You have to be able to sit in the very centre and watch these passions rise up. And a bit like standing in a nightclub door, and you've got people outside posturing and shouting and screaming, and you have to stand there and hold that door, hold that entrance. So you have to build a very strong eye wall to do that. And we come back to what we said before. You build an eye wall by placing yourself in a storm.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the door as well, that was something that I remember reading in Watch My Back, saying that you're in an environment where it's very easy to walk away. Why wouldn't you walk away if you're getting threats to your life?
Yeah.
But you had a why. And that's what I found quite fascinating, was that you could tolerate and you could bear what was happening to you because the why was much bigger and there was a purpose. You were on a pilgrimage.
I was,
and the door was the early steps of your pilgrimage, but you knew that once you went through what was happening to you on the door, that was going to be the next step onto this, kind of...
Well, they're all the lessons you take to the next stage.
Yeah.
Because once you found a certainty with one thing, you can find a certainty with all things, because if you master one thing, you master them all.
Yeah.
Because the process is exactly the same. So the door was my grounding, my foundation. I remember working with a woman called Karen Manderbach in television, and she said to me, she was like a legendary producer, and she said to me, "This is a very, very tough industry, very tough." And I said, "Well, in my last job, people tried to kill me." I said, "I'm presuming it's no tougher than that." And she looked at me and she said, "No, it's not. It's not. It isn't. It gives you a perspective. You know what I mean? You do go into areas. I've gone into areas since the door that were tougher than the door. I've gone into the greater jihad, the internal battles, which were much harder than the door. But the door gave me a perspective. It gave me reference points, and it gave me certainties.